Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everyone. She is all about holistic healing. And the more and more we get together, the more I learn how Chinese medicine can support all of us in many different ways. And that includes acupuncture, also herbal remedies, and so many other modalities that Dr. Kelly offers. Today, we're going to talk about acupuncture and relief of tooth pain. I didn't even know there was a connection there. I'm learning that acupuncture can support and help relieve symptoms and pain for many different things. She's located in New York City, and it's great having her back here. Dr. Kelly, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you? Thank you.
Very well. I'm getting educated here. And that went from somebody like myself, and I think that represents many, having a fear of acupuncture because of the needles. And we identified that they're so fine, most times you don't even feel them, maybe a little pressure. But also the things that acupuncture can help with. One of those is tooth pain. I never even thought of it. Tell us more about it.
Yes, actually, even myself, even my teacher, because we have the Huangdi Neijing class every other week. So actually, in one of the class, I mentioned about tooth pain. Even my teacher, who has been practicing and teaching for more than 30 years, she said, well, usually tooth pain, when we go to dentist, in Chinese medicine, we usually don't treat it. So I'm like, oh, really? So looks like most of the acupuncturists or Chinese medicine doctors, they don't even treat tooth pain. But last year, I got a tooth pain. I usually don't go to dentist unless just for cleaning. But last time I went there, they did an x-ray. They said, wow, Dr. Kelly, you got a very bad cavity, and we think you need a root canal treatment. So by that time, I have no idea what the root canal treatment is. So my dentist referred me to another dentist in my building, like where I practice my acupuncture. I went there, they explained to me how the procedure looked like. Like they said, oh, you have a lot of infection in one of the tooth, and we have to put a lot of antibiotics to kill the bacteria. Then we have to kill the nerve linked in that tooth. I'm like, if you cut the nerve, my tooth is not going to feel anything. So to me, that's not a perfect treatment. But that's usually what they do for root canal treatment, because the cavity is so big, so deep, they have to cut the nerve. So I said, okay, let me think about it. So I went back. I never, by the way, I do acupuncture on my face, on my body, but I never put a needle on my gum because it's kind of like so sensitive. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be so painful. I don't want to do it. So I was dragging until one day I feel the tooth pain really bothered me. I'm like, okay, let me do it because I don't want to do the root canal treatment. First, it's so expensive. It's several $1,000s. The insurance doesn't even pay. You have to pay from your own pocket. And, the procedure they explained to me, they're going to be more like 2 treatments at least. And, they have to cut the nerve stuff, like put tongue. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go there. So the only solution for me is either take the herbs to do acupuncture. So I'm like, let me do acupuncture. Let me brave enough to do it. So I put a needle on the gum where I feel the tooth pain, and it helped.
Wow.
Yes, I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God, acupuncture can treat tooth pain.
Oh my! So, thank you for your transparency, and I love it. I love you for being open and honest about it. Here you are, somebody who practices acupuncture. You run deep, no pun intended, or maybe with everything you do, and you're still saying, yeah, I don't know what that's going to feel like if I put that needle, that acupuncture needle, into my gum. So did you just target where the pain was? Because as I understand from you, a lot of times we use certain points. The acupuncture needles are put in certain meridian points or pressure points, whatever they're called. Did you just go for the pain, where it was coming from?
Very good question, Steve. Yes, usually we will go to the acupuncture point to put the needle in. But we also have some point called the ashi point, which means wherever, the pain is. So I just went where my tooth feel the pain, where, that tooth, I put the needle right over there in the gum. And actually, it was not that painful at all. Before I do it, I would imagine it's really painful. I would scream or something. No. Actually, it's not that painful at all. So I use only half-inch needle. I put it in the gum, and it really relieve the pain. I don't feel it.
Wow. And how long did that relief last?
How long so I put a needle in there. I usually let the needle return for half an hour. That's usually my procedure when people come in for treatment. So I let it stay for half an hour, then I took it out. It can last for at least a day for my tooth pain. I did several times, but now it's totally gone.
And you didn't have a root canal?
I think I still have a root canal, but I don't feel the pain anymore.
Okay. And a lot of times there's different, I'm not a dentist, but a lot of times there are different steps that need to take place and can be pain along the way. But this is fascinating in terms of even if you're awaiting surgery, let's say you have some, a pain somewhere, an issue somewhere, and it's gotten to the point where you need some major things to take place medically to remedy the situation. Acupuncture can get you there instead of popping pills, Tylenol, Motrin, if it even works, or other meds. Wow, fascinating. Think about this. Acupuncture has been around for, dare I say, centuries. And back in the day, they didn't have a dentist. You didn't just show up and get in a chair back then and they, do a root canal. There had to be some way that the cultures took care of these things, acupuncture being one of them. Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like you said, in the old times, thousand years ago, we don't have the dentist, right? We don't have so many surgeons around. So when people are sick, what do? Right? Acupuncture. So again, for the tooth pain, because the dentist told me there is inflammation. But what the acupuncture can do is release the inflammation actually. So for example, tooth pain, there could be two reasons. One, we call the stomach fare. That's one of the reasons can cause the tooth pain. That's why some people, they may have, when they brush teeth, they will have tooth bleeding, the gum bleeding.
Sure.
Yeah, and some people even have the tooth pain. So that is a sign of stomach fare. So what we do, we release the stomach fare. We put the fare off. So your stomach fare not going on, then you don't feel the tooth pain. Actually, in my whole life, I never really experienced tooth pain, to be honest, until last year. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I treat myself.
Wow.
So
now you said it sounded, and I want to make sure I understand this right. Bleeding gums.
Yeah.
Issues with that. That's related to the stomach.
Stomach fare. Yeah, we call it stomach fare because usually, we have a lot of stomach points around the mouth over here. Uh-huh. So that's why when people have gum issue, bleeding stuff, people say, oh, you have stomach fare. Of course, we ask questions, right? Are you very easily to get hungry? Usually people who have stomach fare, usually very easy to get hungry. They just eat. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours later, they're so hungry they have to eat again. That's another sign for stomach fare.
Wow. This is fascinating. The more we learn, the more I talk with you, the more we learn. And I've got, who is this? This is Michelle, checks in from Detroit. By the way, you can always reach us, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, thank you for your talk. I'm researching acupuncture and wondering if you could tell me if it can help with migraine headaches.
Oh, I have so many migraine patients. Even myself, actually, I use myself a lot as an example. That's actually, to be honest, I didn't really had it at all. That's how I got into Chinese medicine field. It's because of my own condition. I used to have migraine every week, even more than once a week. It's horrible. Migraine is horrible. What I experienced before is like you couldn't do anything, you want to throw up, and it's only on one side. It's like you don't want to look at anything, you want to turn off the light, you want to be in the dark room. I know migraine is horrible, but I didn't have it for like many, many years. I stopped it because I treated myself. And I still have patients coming in for migraine. Actually, yesterday, I had a patient coming in. So she had been coming in for maybe about a month. So she coming in usually like once or twice a week. She also used to have migraine also. But now she said she barely have it anymore. Even she kind of like have it, she said doesn't even bother her.
Wow.
So acupuncture can really, really help about migraine. It's wonderful.
Wow. When you were growing up, Dr. Kelly, was this part of your life, your childhood, your family? Chinese medicine, a lot of these remedies. Was that part of your culture when you were growing up?
Actually, funny enough, when I was a child, when I got a cold, my father really took me to the Western doctor, give me like, just antibiotics or even the IV. I was actually, when I was little, I was not a strong kid. I got cold very easily. Even like until high school, I remember a lot of time in the winter, I got cold. I just go to the doctor. They give me antibiotic stuff. It's really horrible. Now I recall it. It's really horrible because all the antibiotics just really bad for the body.
Oh, I 1000% agree with you. And anytime a doctor says, well, I'm going to write you a script for an antibiotic, right away, yellow light goes off in my head. And I think about it. And I'm going to be honest, I had some health stuff going on, nothing major, dealt with it. But one doctor said he was going to write it for something. And I didn't agree. I didn't take it. I was fine. And I don't even know why he suggested taking it. It almost didn't make sense in my mind. So we have to be our own advocates when it comes to our health. And certainly no harm in acupuncture. But you know what? We've never talked about this. Are there any side effects of acupuncture?
If you really want to talk about side effect, I usually very open to my patient, right? I have patient coming in for facial rejuvenation. So I told them there might be, one or two points, when you put the needle, you may have a little bit of bleeding. And, sometimes, not all the time, you may have a little boo-boo, kind of little bruise, right? That could happen. That's a side effect. But don't worry, it will go away. It depends on people. It may take 1 week, it may take 2 weeks, or some people may take several days. That's a side effect. I'm not hiding it. I said, let's just.
And that's minimal. You go for a lab. And by the way, just to reiterate, as we talked in the past, the needles for acupuncture are much, much smaller than, let's say, when they draw your blood in a lab test. Much, much smaller. And what happens from that? Occasionally, you have to put pressure on it when you're done. This is not the same thing with acupuncture. And you might have a little bruise. It's not. Okay, so then let's look at antibiotics. So side effects, the list goes on from multiple trips to the bathroom to sun sensitivity, stomach issues, like on and on and on. And now you're building up a tolerance to the antibiotic. So I don't run deep in this, but as I understand it, when you need to take the next antibiotic, now you got to get something even stronger. So that's why I pick my battles when it comes to it. If you really need one, like you have a full-blown infection, there's something going on there. You need to address it. Okay, antibiotic, but just not, let me give you one just in case. I would never do that. And I didn't. And I was absolutely fine. absolutely fine.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, to point out that. Yes, actually, you mentioned about when people have infection, they have to take antibiotic. Actually, acupuncture can treat the infection, right? Same thing as the herb. We have herb like huanglian.
Sure.
It's basically equal to antibiotic. It's just herb. So when people have inflammation, they can take the herb, they can do acupuncture. Just like what I mentioned about tooth pain, because the dentist told me is this inflammation, some bacteria over there. So what I did, just put a needle in, the inflammation basically gone. I haven't went back to the dentist to check whether I still have cavity. I'm thinking maybe I still have cavity, but doesn't matter. I still have it or not. At least the inflammation is either totally gone or at least minimized. It doesn't bother me anymore. So it's not only antibiotics can take care of the inflammation. We can use acupuncture to take care of it. We can use herb to take care of it. The side effect is basically like zero compared with antibiotics.
Wow. And inflammation, as I'm learning, is almost everything. Everything that ails us, there's an inflammation taking place causing it. What about, let's say, somebody has a sinus infection? Very discomfort. It's just annoying. Usually get an antibiotic if it's bad enough. Acupuncture for that sinus infection. Can it help?
Yes, I have so many patients come in for that.
Wow.
Even young kids, like 12-year-old. Yeah, they come in. I have a sinus infection, running nose, headache. Same thing. I put like needles, like beside the nose, and with some other points, along the channel, on the lung channel. So it helps them. Literally, I have a patient. He said he used to blow his nose, even, but after he got treated with acupuncture, he said his nose is so clean and he can breathe. He doesn't need any medication anymore. So acupuncture can help.
How about some of the other medical challenges that we go through that we might not think about to use acupuncture for? We're identifying some of the major ones, and some of the other ones like tooth pain. But are there other challenges that acupuncture can support?
Yes, actually, people who over 40 or people maybe even younger than 40 can experience tinnitus. They have the
Sure.
high pitch or low pitch in their ear. It's bother them. So I literally have this patient. He came in. He said, I went to all the doctors, the best doctor in New York City in Manhattan, and they did all the tests. They said, oh, he's only like in his early 40s, 42 maybe or long. They said, oh, just because of aging. They couldn't tell any reason why he had the tinnitus. So they said, oh, just because you're aging. He's only 42. He's not old. But they couldn't find out the reason. They said, oh, just aging. So
what was causing it? Or was it ever figured out?
So yes, in Chinese medicine, the ear ringing usually related with liver or kidney. So I check his tongue, I check his pulse, ask questions. So I said, so your problem, your ear ringing is related with liver failure. So because he has stress job, he had running his own company, had a lot of patients who are very rich and powerful. So he need to really take care of his clients. So he's making a lot of money, but on the other side, he's under a lot of stress. He had to really, take care of his client's problem.
Sure.
So his liver failure bother him. That's why he got the ear ringing problem. So he came in, I treated him. He said the frequency got so much less and the volume got so much down.
Gotta ask, when you're treating somebody for that, where do the needles go in? Around the ear or no?
Very good question. So there are some points just like in front of the ear over here. There are 3 points I'm using to treat the, ear ringing. But of course, I will use some points on the hand, related with channel because it's related with the liver and gallbladder. So I use some points on the hand for, we call it sanjiao, because sanjiao and the liver and the gallbladder, they are all like Shaoyang channel. This is a little bit too detailed about Chinese medicine. So I use the point on his feet. That's a gallbladder point. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's combination. I never just use one point. So it's always a point combination to treat a problem. But it did help. He's very happy actually because my office on Lexington Avenue and East 60th Street. He lives on Park Avenue and East 60th Street. He's like basically my neighbor. So he come in almost every day.
Wow. Oh, how great would that be? Just now, when you're putting in the acupuncture needles, are you always knowing where they go based on your experience and the physiology of the body? Or are there some times where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to try it there. Let's see how that works.
Usually I kind of know where it's going to go because, we studied the points. Sure. I know anatomy. So we already know. So that's why some point, for example, on the shoulder, some people have the shoulder pain, shoulder tightness. So I usually have a point over here, but it's very helpful. But I usually put the needle up, oblique up, because if I put the needle down, it's gonna maybe risky to the lung. So that's why if we know where the needle gonna go, it's no risk. Because you know where the needle gonna go, right? But if you don't know, you just put the needle in if it's not in the correct position, and it may cause some, problem. So, but we all learned where is the risk point, how do you needle it, sure. How big the needle should be. In that way, it's all safe.
And you're not putting in the needle in very far, typically, right?
Usually we don't, unless I know, for example, on the hip, I know the muscle is big, there's nothing risky, and the patient have really deep pain. I may use a long needle, but I know that is safe.
Wow. How many different size needles are there?
So we have like 1/2 inch, we have 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 3 inch, 4 inch, even longer.
Wow. Didn't know. And are they all just as fine, or when you go to the 4-inch needle, does it actually get thicker?
Yes, actually, usually the needle a little bit thicker, because if very long and too thin, gonna be very hard to put it.
Yes, because it would be just too flexible at that longer length. Wow, learning. Yeah. I'm getting it. I'm picking up on it. Fantastic, Dr. Kelly. What is I know you're in New York City. And you can help people, you can support people, not with acupuncture virtually, but certainly, on the herbal level and some of the other things you offer. What's your website?
My website is kelly121acupuncture.com. And on the office phone number is 347-885-1865. Thank
you so much for today and the insight and also your honesty about, the tooth situation. It's real. You were wondering how it was going to work, and it worked fantastic. And here we go. It goes back to what I always say. A lot of times we all worry about things that we don't even need to worry about. So it's just, we're wired that way, to think about it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.